Welcome to the It's Your Effin' Journey podcast. My name is Melissa McQueenie, and I'm a licensed therapist here to share tips and tricks from my own journey in the hopes it will give you the confidence to go after your own life with the fiery passion of whatever's right for you. Because wouldn't it be really freaking boring if everybody did the same thing? Welcome to the show. What time is it? Podcast time. It's a celebration. What time is it? Podcast time. So the other day, I'm trying to set up my little area over here. My fancy little studio. Maybe 2 days ago, I posted a reel, as I do most days on my social media. And the sort of theme of the reel, if you will, was healing means taking an honest look at the role you play in your own suffering. And it seemed to hit a nerve with some viewers, or just gave them something to think about, right? Like, those are the best kind of reels that I like when I see quotes or I see, or I hear audio that remind me or are really inspirational or get me to think about things in a different way. And obviously, this particular quote gave some of you something to think about because you reached out, messaging me or commenting on the reel, and I thought that would be a great topic for today. So I also want to talk about what's to come before we get going into the topic, because this is going to be such an exciting month. So I have a couple different offerings this month, and I wanted to share with them on here just so you guys are aware of what areas I can help with, and if there's anything that you in particular might need help with. So first of all, we have It's Your Effin' Journey, the community. We are kicking off a mindfulness challenge in 2 weeks. So get in there now. I've been sharing daily happiness tips and other random tidbits of information, but we are going to kick off with a mindfulness challenge, which is going to help you learn to be in the moment, to be present, to really appreciate what's going on around you now instead of always focusing either on what's to come. How am I going to tackle my to-do list? How am I going to, do X, Y, and Z? How am I going to get it all done? We're going to take you, hopefully, in this busy season to a place where you can at least take some breaths for yourself and learn how to appreciate the moment that you're in right now. Because if we are always focused on getting to the next place, it's really hard to recognize what we're doing right now. And that's the beauty of life, is being able to recognize, oh shit, I am here now and life is amazing. So that's what we're doing in September in the community. Get in there. It's free. Invite your friend, invite your cousin, invite your mom. The more the merrier. It's a mental health community based off of social media. So you don't need to see any political posts. That's going to be a safe haven from that. It's all going to be about protecting your own peace and learning how to be mindful. So get in that community. We are also going to be kicking off another life coach round. So not this week, but starting next week, we're going to be doing it the same exact way that it's been formatted. So if you are really looking, this is for someone who's ready to freaking go. If you are I got some shit to work on, I really want to take a deep dive into my thoughts, maybe about this healing that we talk about today, the life coaching is going to be for you. We do it in 3-week increments. So you pick a time and a date. That is the time and the date that we meet each other every single week. Obviously, we have to agree on it. And we work for 3 weeks. We go hard. 1-hour sessions every week for 3 weeks. I am loving the format of how it's going, and I really am watching people make great strides and really pick up some momentum and really feel better at the end of the 3 weeks. And that's what I want for you. I want you to feel better. I want you to accomplish your goals. So let's do that. That's going to start next week. And if you book before, let's say Wednesday when I leave for LA, if you book before then, I'm going to give you the early bird pricing of $8.99. That's $8.99 for the 3-hour-long sessions. If you book after Wednesday, it's just going to go up to the regular pricing of $9.99. So if you want to get in on that, actually, this is a lie. This is my podcast for next week. So I'm going to honor the early bird special because I'm a freaking idiot. Okay? We're going to do early bird special of $8.99, and we're going to honor that up through when this podcast comes out next Monday. So that $8.99 is going to expire Monday night. That is September 9th. September 9th, Monday, September 9th. Early bird pricing of $8.99. You just suckered me into that. No, I suckered myself into that. So that's going to be that. And then what I'm offering too, and this is a la carte, and this is only as I have availability. But if you are local and you are like, I either need a reboot of relearning some skills, I need some accountability, I want to work on one particular issue, or I might need, to work through something in particular. Did I just say that? I'm going to offer a la carte walk sessions, but here's the caveat to that. It has to be within a certain radius of me. So Northwest Park in Windsor is fine. If there's another place in Windsor, that would be fine. It has to be that, and I'm only taking those like as my schedule allows. So if you are somebody who's like maybe one session, maybe two, I don't want to commit to the whole life coach program, you can do an a la carte walk session if you're local. So there's that option too. But I would love to see you. I would love to help you. And all the links will be in the show notes for all of this stuff to come, all this fun stuff. So without further ado, let's talk about this quote. Healing means taking an honest look at the role you play in your own suffering. So, this is like a growth mindset concept, right? Like, we can be engaged in our own journey, our own process, our own healing, and be really active in that process. Or we can just focus on other people or sort of how we've been a victim of certain circumstances in our own life. And when we have that victim mentality, it's very powerless. Like when you walk around life feeling like you're the victim, like you have had these wrongs done to you by circumstances, by life, by your parents, by your spouse, it's a powerless feeling, right? And you walk around life feeling like, wah, look what happened to me. And what happens when we step into our role, into our healing role, and into this active place where we can take an active role in our own healing? That's when we can start to realize the pain that we've had and understand patterns and understand our thoughts and how these things have really continued to bring us into this cycle and continue to harm us. We can take that from having a reaction and just, not really. When I think of a reaction, I think of like not a very thoughtful action, right? Like it's just like this is how I responded, and there's really not a lot of intention going behind that. But then we can turn that into a very mindful response, right? Or we can flip it from things happen to me, or I can respond to what happens. How powerful is that? When we flip that, things happen to me versus I can respond to the things that happen in my life. That gives you so much power, right? What action can we take from the things that happen to us? We can set boundaries. We can have communication. We can have discussion about things that we need to communicate about, right? There's so many things that we can do. We can control our own reactions. We don't have to give power to things that we don't want to give power to. And until you sort of understand this concept, and I would add, it would be really helpful to work with a professional on this. It's going to be really hard if you've never worked with a therapist or a coach to really dive into, especially if you're like, oh my God, that's me. I act like such a victim. You may need to invest in having a therapist, at least for a certain amount of time, to get really good at recognizing your thoughts and recognizing the role that you play in all of this for yourself. But and and when we flip that from something that's done to us to something we can actively participate in, that's what I call getting in the driver's seat of your own life. If you are sitting and you are like acting as things happen, like, so, you know, your mom calls you up and screams at you and you're like, why is she treating me like this? Instead of feeling like you're in the passenger seat. You're in the passenger seat, flailing your arms, and you're not really taking that active role in getting in the driver's seat. Versus, let me get in the driver's seat. Let me pay attention to this interaction with my mom. How did that conversation go? What did I do to make that go unhinged, right? What did I say? What could I have said better? How could I have said that better? If I said, Mom, you always piss me off, could I have said, hey, Mom, it makes me really upset when you don't invite my child to the barbecue, right? Like, and this is like coming out of my ass. This did not happen to me. I'm just sort of helping in the moment see how you can get in that role of driver's seat and see, what is my role in this? We're not, when we act like victims, especially with other people or in conversations, you know, it's lame. Like, we got to step up and be like, what could I do better to make this go better? And maybe you can't, right? Maybe you get to the end of the conversation, you're like, there is no hope for this. You might need to give some space to that relationship or to that conversation, or set up a boundary around how you communicate with that person, right? It's really about finding your own strength. It's not about who's to blame or how bad life is or how bad are the circumstances in your life. It's about, where is my strength within this situation? Where is my strength in my thoughts about this? Where is my strength in my communication skills? Am I in the driver's seat? Am I saying no when I have to say no? Am I ending this conversation because it's not healthy? What can I do? What can I do? What is my role in this? And this takes practice. But if you are someone who's listening and you're like, I do act like a victim, or I act more like a victim than I thought that I did, start to pay attention. Start to pay attention to the things that trigger you. Start to pay attention to your own feelings and moods and what happens and what you can do to feel better. So I'm just going to go over a couple different categories and sort of how this can play out in your life. One is denial. Some people just deny feelings. They deny, like, they just deny how they're feeling. Maybe they don't understand what the actual feeling is. I have found this to be the case I work with this a lot with children, but even some adults do not really understand what the underlying feeling is. It might be coming out as anger, but it could be, abandonment. It could be embarrassment. It could be shame, right? But it comes out as anger. So if you're not really understanding what the feeling is, maybe you just need to do a little bit of a deep dive. Do some journaling. See what feelings come up. Where is this feeling coming from? And the more that we sort of push feelings away, the more that they fester. So if we're denying feelings that we have, we don't want to do that. We don't want to deny. Another way that this can come out is like what I've talked about, is blaming others, right? And we cannot control other people. We cannot control external circumstances, right? We can't control any of that. We can only control our responses, our reactions, our emotions, our behavior. And this is the power. This is the power. So this is the power that I want you to step into. Instead of that, look how life is happening to me. It is happening for you. Your life is happening for you. It's for you to learn from, to take these lessons from, to say, what's happening and where is my power in all of this? You have so much power inside of you, and you just have to access it, right? You just have to look at it a different way. And that's sort of, that's my next topic, is the unproductive thoughts. And this is huge when it comes to mindset and really all of these concepts. And I don't even know, this is sort of why, my life coaching is so helpful is the tie-in. I don't think you ever get used to like plugging yourself, right? Like it's just freaking awkward. Like I'm so awesome and this is why. But I'm so awesome and this is why is because so there's some things that a therapist does that a coach doesn't do, right? Like a coach can't handle mental health stuff, right? There is a clear line. If you say you're going to harm yourself or someone else, if there's lots of different things that a coach can't handle. They're not trained to. I am. Same thing with things that a coach does that a lot of therapists won't do. A lot of therapists are not into the mindset stuff. I am. So I will really work with you to underline and uncover these thoughts that are not serving you. And these thoughts create our reality. So whatever thoughts, and we don't know them. Like sometimes you need to work with a professional to really uncover what is the story I've been telling myself. We all have a story. I think it might be the podcast that went out today. But I talked about my story about, oh my God, what was it? I just had it in my brain and I forgot. It was a story that I was telling myself. Is the story that I've been telling myself my whole freaking life about needing to do it by myself. I'm an only child. I was raised as an only child from a mom who sort of had that mentality of like, I do it best. I do it better than anyone. And I think I adopted all of that, right? Like this idea that, I am on my own. And I have to be on my own, and that's just how my life has to be. No one will do things the way that I'm going to do them. I'm going to do them the best. These are all stories, right? I don't have to do life by myself. I am not the only one who has a desire to be an entrepreneur and build her own business and design her own life and schedule the way that she desires. And the more that I sort of realize that this is the story that I'm telling myself, that I'm just in it by myself, it allows me to not rely on other people, right? And that is not always the best way to go through life. So the more that I sort of dug into this story that I told myself of, you're on your own, you're doing this on your own, you're the only one who can do this, nobody's going to be here for you, I needed to challenge that. I do need to ask for help. I do need to rely on others. I do need to understand that people can help me. It may not be as good as I would do it, but they can help me and it's going to be adequate. And I need to appreciate that because it's awesome. So, and we tend to, with these stories that we tell ourselves, if we don't have somebody who's objectively like, is that story serving you? Like, how is that serving you? What action are you taking from that story? So with me saying, I'm on my own, pretending he's beside me. All right, sorry. With me telling myself that I'm on my own and nobody's there for me, it allows me to not have to access help. It allows me to stay stuck and be like, well, nobody's going to do it anyway, so I'm just going to do this life by myself, for my kids. But now, with me being able to challenge myself and be like, that's a story and it doesn't serve you, now go fucking ask someone to go pick up Declan because you can't do it because you have an appointment and Tucker's stuck in a meeting, right? Like, go ask your community, go ask your village, go and prove yourself wrong. People can be here for you. You can let people in. And guess what? Even if I said to 5 people, hey, can you get Declan today? I can't. I got this going on. Even if all 5 people can't, it doesn't fucking mean that nobody's there for you. It just is a lesson that maybe you have to plan a little bit earlier. Maybe you've got to, I don't know, come up with a better circle of friends. I don't know what the answer is, but it's not always the story you're telling yourself. And the better you get at being like, is this reality? What action do I take from this? Because if it's no action at all, that's bullshit too. Really, really, I cannot emphasize how important it is to learn how to challenge your thoughts, because so many of them are unhelpful and so many are negative. The next subject was we keep talking about it. Like I just laugh at this one because it is like, and I think because I'm a therapist, I feel like I walk through life sometimes with like a tell me all about it hat on my head. I think it's just and I'm happy to have it because I think this is my gift, right? On some level, I make people feel comfortable. I make people feel like I am a trusted person to talk to, and that's my gift, right? Like, how could I be a successful therapist if people didn't feel compelled to talk to me? But walking through life, I feel like I get this a lot, and when you find someone negative who's like telling you about their mean boss from 10 years ago or, their spouse from 30 years ago or, whatever, these people just tend to like bring up the past and they don't let it go. Maybe they're stuck in the past. Like it's wild when you meet someone in like your 40s and they're like, oh, that person's an asshole. In high school, they did like X, Y, and Z. And you're like, whoa, what? Like, allow people to change, allow people to grow, allow people to become better versions of themselves, and stop judging people from high school. But you know who I'm talking about. I know you guys have someone in your head who's like told you a story that they just cannot let go of. Let fucking go. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you. So whatever anger you're holding on to, whatever wrong you feel like has been done to you, if your Aunt Sally didn't let you go on vacation with the family 35 years ago and that broke the whole family apart, like let it go. Let it go and just create a beautiful family that you can be proud of now. If you feel like you have the urge to talk about something that happened to you in the past, how can you reframe it now? What's something positive that came from it? What's something you learned? Whether it's about your relationship with someone or you learned it about someone, how can you let it go? Write them a forgiveness letter. You never ever have to send it. This is for you. Forgiveness is for you. It's not for the other person. So if you are stuck in that like, bah, Uncle Jim in 1975, bah, let it go. We tend to catastrophize. We tend to make things way bigger than they have to be. Stop adding fuel to your own fire. Really just like get good at being like, what is the role I am playing in this? And is this a role that I want to play? Sometimes I catch myself doing shit and I'm like, whoa. No, this is not how I want to step up. I actually had an incident this weekend that did not make me feel very good about how I showed up as a friend. And I had to give myself a gut check. And I had to say to myself, if this is the way that you're behaving, first of all, would you be proud of your kid for behaving like this? Secondly, would you want your kid to see you acting like this? And, ultimately, we are the ones who have to lay our heads down on our pillows at the end of the day. And for me, I want to show up with kindness. I want to show up with empathy. I want to show up with compassion. And, these things are important to me. So if I show up as less than, I've got to really evaluate that and see what is happening here? Why is this not lining up? And how can I get it to feel more aligned? Because it's important. It's important for me that I show up in a way that makes me proud. And then the last thing is that we believe we're alone. Sometimes when we're caught up in our own suffering, we convince ourselves we're the only ones going through it. Other people couldn't understand, other people couldn't relate. And, the harm from this is that when we do this, sometimes we isolate. We isolate from other people. We don't share with other people. And if you're somebody who tends to do this, I would encourage you to challenge yourself to keep reaching out to people. Talk about it. And I know me sitting here with this microphone, I say this all the time, but this has been such a beautiful process for me to talk about my shit and get my shit out there and show up in a way that I can continue to challenge myself too. And it also helps me to know I'm not alone because you guys so beautifully come and say, thank you, this has helped me, or I'm going through this too, or, just giving your support of something that I'm going through. So don't if your second nature is to sort of isolate and go by yourself, what can you do to not do that? Is there someone you can reach out to that maybe is in a better place with their mental health, or a professional? If any of these things you're like, I gotta work on, give therapy a try. I just signed up for a new therapist myself. I'm using Talkspace, and we'll see how it goes. But I have got so much shit that I need some help with that, I'm not afraid to ask for help when I need it. The only thing that's a pain in the ass for me about therapy is just finding a good fit. But I know that I need some like help in here, and I'm gonna access that. So I'll put the link for Talkspace too. And my favorite link, the psychologytoday.com find a therapist tool. You can search by specialty, location, insurance type. You can see their faces, but get some help, guys. You'd never have to do this alone, and it helps so much to have somebody help you navigate life, even if it's temporarily. Remember, therapy doesn't have to be for forever. Medication doesn't have to be for forever. But taking care of ourselves should be forever, and not allowing ourselves to stay stuck should be forever. Growth should be forever. So I love you. I hope this episode helped you guys today. Remember to join the community, get in there for our mindfulness challenge. Please screenshot this episode and share it on your social media and tag me so I can thank you for listening. I appreciate your support so much. Cheer me on, well, no, you're not going to hear this till Monday, so I'm going to stop talking shit. I got to be better about when I'm recording and when I'm posting it. But remember, I'm offering early bird special for life coaching through next Monday night. So if you want to jump in on that early bird pricing, let me know, and I'd love to get you started. Have a great week, guys. Love ya.